Hey y'all, Dan Wolf here, Smoky Mountain Magic. Thank you for picking up one of our run, run, run effects. You've already seen the demo online, so you know what it does. Now we've got to teach you how to do it. Let's take a look at how we put it together. There are three different sizes of the run, run, run. The small, the medium, and the stage size. They all go together basically the same, and they all operate basically the same. Let's go over what we've got here. This is a stainless steel 1/2-inch pipe nipple. That is to attach it to the base. Now you'll also have 4 of these little L-shaped pins. Don't lose them, they're important. We have the base of the thing. There are the 2 houses. You have 2 bunny rabbits. One, of course, goes in the prop. The other one can be produced off of your back or wherever you want to produce it from when the trick's over. But the first thing we need is the stand. Now, yours may or may not come with a stand, depending on what size you got. But the stand looks like this. There are 3 latches on your stand, one at the top, one in the middle, and one at the bottom. We'll need to open this one on the bottom so that the legs will unfold just like that. Flip that over and it's nice and sturdy. Then the second one, the one in the middle, allows this to slide back and forth so you can adjust the height. Then the last one is what holds the prop in place. On the bottom of your base is a pipe flange. You just take your stainless steel nipple and screw it down into that flange. Doesn't need to be super tight, but it ought to be nice and snug. You don't want it wiggling around. Now on your stand, make sure that the top latch is loose. You don't want it down because that is what locks this into place. Lift that up so that the little finger inside pulls itself in. Slide the pipe nipple down inside and lock it. And your base is assembled, just like that. You can pick it up and carry it this way. You can carry it that way to move it around wherever you need it to be on your stage. Now, the houses. We have 2 of these little houses. One goes on one side of the base, one goes on the other. You'll notice there are little fingers sticking up out of the base and fittings on the bottom of each of the houses. One at the side, one at the front. They just fit right down on those fingers. Let's take a look at it from the back. Once those fittings go together, that's when you need our little L pins. Take 1 pin and put in each one of those little brackets. One in the front and one in the side of each of the houses. Now they don't go in there absolutely tight. You need to leave them stick out just a little bit. They'll snug up, but if you try to force it all the way in, then it's never coming back out of there. And you do want it to come out so that way we can take it apart to transport it. So now we have the houses put together, and that's really about all there is to it. Now we'll show you how the mechanics of the thing work. At this point, you're going to need one of your little bunnies. It doesn't matter which one, they're both identical, and they both have this fuzz on the back of them. You'll find out why that is in just a second. Now, the center door flips up and down. That's important for part of the routine, and it also helps us with the vanish. Now, on the back of this thing is what we call here a carrier. This little dealie helps to keep everything upright and moving where it's supposed to be. The carrier is attached to this string, this piece of parachute cord, which has the knots on it. You slide it back and forth which makes, by going around the loops here, that makes the carrier move from one side to the other. All we have to do is get the bunny rabbit on it. And that's where the Velcro comes in. If you look through one of these doors, you'll be able to see it better. There is Velcro hook right there on the front of that plate. That matches up with the Velcro fuzz on the back of the plaque. The Velcro hook and fuzz go together and hold that little critter upright so we can pull on the string and make him go back and forth. Now, one important thing about how he is attached, you'll notice whenever I attach him to this plaque, it is aligned with the side of the carrier plaque on this side. This piece of plastic here lines up with the side of the bunny rabbit plaque. It's also not all the way down to the bottom. There is about a finger width underneath it. It's just about aligned with the top edge of that hinge back there. And there's a very good reason why we need some space there, because this plaque does two movements in two different planes. It pivots in two different directions, which allows this thing to vanish. Let me show you how that happens. Whenever you run that back and forth, of course the rabbit goes from one side to the other, just pulling on the cord from one side to the other. And every time when you flip this down, the audience thinks that you're trying to be sneaky. You're fooling them. He's not over here, he's over there. See, I told you, he went over by magic, see? And then this goes up and he goes over and he's gone, see? And he came over to this side. Well, they see him go and they know that's exactly what's going on. What they don't know is going on is on one of the last slides back and forth. You see, he slides back and forth, and you're opening doors and closing doors and all this kind of stuff. And then whenever he comes over here, he actually comes back this direction. On one of the last slides, your hand goes right here, right at the corner of that flip down plaque, that center section, and the corner of the house roof. Your hand acts as a stop, and when you pull the rabbit back, it actually flips horizontally, just like that. And once it's horizontal, this hinge can now act, and it falls down flat to be covered by the plaque. Now that was slowed way down so you could follow exactly what was going on. You don't want your audience to follow what's going on. Let's show it to you at speed. It all happens very, very quickly. During the routine, oh, by the way, the rabbit has to be flipped up and down while he's in his sideways position, because whenever you flip him up and then turn him, that keeps him from falling back and forth. See? He won't fall back until he's turned horizontally. This is important. Now, back to the trick. He slides back and forth like that. The hand goes here, boom, and he's gone. Ain't that slick? We also have a couple of fakes. After the rabbit is down underneath this plaque, you can still make him appear to be in one of those houses. Either one, actually. There is a tilt panel right up here on this side, and on the other side is a sliding panel. Just sort of a little pop-up thing. Both of the fakes are made so that whenever the doors are open, they're gone. They only go on that frame of each house. The tilting one just has a rubber band that keeps it in place. So that way, if the rubber band breaks, it's easily replaceable. You just take it off of those hooks and replace it with another rubber band. It keeps it in place so you can tilt it out and then let it snap back to hide itself. The other side has a sliding version. It just goes up and down, hiding itself behind the peak of that house. Little feet keep it from falling down, so that way it is still see-through during the whole time, but it will stop at the proper position here so you don't pull it up too far. So even after the rabbit is actually folded flat underneath the center section, you can show him over here. You can stick him out a little bit further if you just use a little snapping motion with your fingers, because you can hide the gap up at the top here. You can show that he's over here, and then poof, he disappears and appears over on this side. But then when you make him vanish from here, he's back on this side, and he's gone completely. Where in the... Did you see a rabbit? And that's when you can produce your other rabbit from wherever you'd like. He could be on your back. That's traditional. Kids love that. You turn around, they can see him, but you don't know it's there. Holler, scream, yell, all that fun stuff. But you can produce it from anywhere. And as I said, it's got Velcro on the back too, Velcro fuzz. So just a piece of Velcro hook on a prop or on the center of a shirt or something like that, and you can attach it there with no problem. And that is how the thing works. Now let me point out a couple of little things about the prop here. If you look real close, right in the center of the center panel, you will see there's a magnet right there. It's not attached to anything, but it is important. It gives this panel that nice little pop and holds it in place without having to have a latch to mess around with. You just flip it up and it stays, flip it down and it stays. We also do the same thing on the doors. The doors have a little magnet right inside the hinge, and that helps to keep the doors closed, so that way you don't have them flipping open. Because with that magnet out of there, then the doors don't seem to stay closed like they ought to. You don't want them seeing what's going on back there. So that magnet just sits right in the hinge and keeps it shut. You can even bump on it a little bit and it'll spring it back closed. That's convenient. You don't want to have to mess around with the latch. Now, just about the only other thing on this prop that could wear out is the paracord on the back. Now, it is possible with all the tugging and pulling that paracord goes through during the course of a performance that it could get loose. Now, paracord doesn't generally stretch, but it can happen. So, the paracord is not sealed in any way. It's one big loop that just runs back and forth, and it's just knotted here. So you can just pick out the knots, just untie everything, pull it tight again, and retie the knots. That way it'll stay fresh forever. Or you can replace the paracord if something happens to it. If it gets cut during transit in one of your props or something like that, or you're accidentally doing a cut and restored paracord trick and grab the wrong one. It could happen. So that's how it works. That's how it operates. And I hope our little Run Rabbit Run will serve you well. Now, one of the big things we discovered when we started building this thing was that it is modular. Let's see how you can add a different theme. Run, Run, Run is a good trick. It's a good variation on a standard theme. The Run Rabbit Run has been done forever. We just added a little more mystery and our own Smoky Mountain touch. Now, the first one of these we built was not for a rabbit. We were contacted by a professional Santa Claus. He wanted some way to explain to the kids how Santa makes it all around the world to everybody's house in one single night. So we developed one with a Santa Claus theme. Then for year-round use, we thought that's nice for Christmas, but we're going to need something you can use in other times. Now, not everybody is the rabbit style. So we have come up with a bunch of different themes that can be used, and they can be swapped out very easily. Let's go to the workshop. Back in my element, sawdust. Welcome to the workshop. Now, our mission, should we choose to accept it, is to change this Run Rabbit Run into a Run Santa Claus Run. It's not actually that difficult. Let me show you how it's done. There are really 4 things that we need to change out. The first one is the figures. That's easy enough to change out. Remember we said that the original one velcros fast to the carrier plate. Take that off and we're good to go. All you have to do is just use your Santa Claus figure instead of the rabbit. The rest of it is a little more difficult than that, but not too much. We need to swap out the houses and the center plate. Now you remember how the houses go on. Just with those little pins right there. We just pull those pins out and remove the house. Just like that. The one on the other side comes off exactly the same way. Just pull out the pins and the house slides off. Now we need Santa Claus houses. Now for the Santa Claus version, we have a house which is the house of some good little boy or girl who is going to get the presents. That one would go on the far side. Just slips into place and the pins go in. And the second house is Santa Claus's workshop. It goes on this side. Just like before, it goes onto the little pins and then the L pins go in. And we're good to go. Except for this. Doesn't exactly fit the Christmas theme. So, here's what you do. You will need a Phillips head screwdriver to take these 6 screws out. It's not a difficult thing. And the screws are not very big, so it won't take you very long. There. All 6 screws are out, and this panel just lifts right off of there. Now we take our panel for the Christmas theme and put it right back where we took the old one off. We use the same screw holes and everything. And that is it. We are ready for the holidays. You just use Santa Claus instead on the carrier plate. And we've already got Santa Claus fakes attached to the Santa Claus houses. So in a flash, just a couple of minutes, you are ready for Christmas. And that's it. Just a few minutes with a screwdriver and you can swap it out. Now be careful whenever you swap out the center panel. Make sure you don't tighten the screws down too tight. If you strip out the threads in the wood, if it tears the wood up inside, the threads on the screws won't hold quite as well. You can get yourself some new screws, a little bit bigger, and that ought to do the job, but you're not going to be swapping this out every day anyway. So just take care of it, a little bit of carefulness, and you'll be good for a long time. Now, not only are the houses changeable, the houses in the center panel for the theme, but let's take a look at a different theme. This is our circus theme. It's a theme with a lot of possibilities for a lot of different animals. For instance, one we have here is a monkey. We've got a monkey who gets into the circus and runs back and forth, and eventually he's sneaking around and peeking around until you can't find him at all. And where did that sneaky monkey end up? Right on your back. It's really a cute idea, but suppose you're really not into monkeys. You like the circus idea. What could we do otherwise? Let me show you how we go about changing from one figure to the other. You see, the figure we could swap out easily enough just by using a different animal on the figure. But we also have to swap out the fakes. Here's how that works. First, you would remove the pins from the left side. This is where the sliding fake is. Take that one out. You'll notice that this fake stops when you pull on it, but it will actually drop all the way out the bottom if you slide it the other direction. Now, we can swap out the monkey for another animal. We'll put the other fake in there, slide it back into place. Insert the pins. And that side is done. Now the other side. This one's just a little bit more difficult. After we take the pins out, you take the rubber band off of those hooks, and then the monkey fake is loose, but it's attached by this bolt right here. It's a bolt with a locking nut. Here's how we get that off of there. For this little operation, you will need the Phillips screwdriver again and a small wrench. This one is 9 millimeters. Now, the screw hole is underneath the artwork right beside that door opening. All you have to do is put the screwdriver into that little hole, hold it so that the screw doesn't spin, and then loosen with that wrench. Once you do that, that monkey fake comes right off of there. Just replace it with the new fake and tighten it back down. Now, when you do tighten this down, you don't want it absolutely tight because that fake needs to move on that bolt. You want it to have some play, but you want it tight enough that it will keep it from flopping out and not hitting the stop. So all that remains now is to replace the rubber band. And put it back on the base. And now that we've replaced both of the fakes, you can now show them your circus act with your elephant, Ella the elephant. And Ella is going to do all the dancing, and she's going to dance from one place to the other, and she just slides back and forth, and finally she disappears, but she's not gone yet because you've got your elephant face until she's gone. And that's what a magic circus looks like. So you can swap them out for the houses, the figures, the center section, anything you can imagine, any combination you can imagine. You can send Santa Claus to the circus. You can send the rabbit somewhere. You could send the monkey to the North Pole. Little weird, but it works. And if it works for your act, that's what we're trying to do. So thank you so much for all of your attention. If we can help with any of this stuff, you just let us know. There is a complete line of extra themes available on the website, and we're adding more all the time. So thank you so much. I got to get back to the table saw. Have a wonderful day, and if we can be of any service in the future, just let us know. Thanks.